Hi, so Brady and I are here with Connor Hancock, and he is one of our awesome preferred lenders.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Connor always comes through with communication. That's a big reason why we refer a lot of our clients to him, and we've had a lot of successful closings. But Connor has some great information about something that is very valuable, especially in a market like this where, we see tougher interest rates and,
Higher prices,
inflation,
Yeah.
all the things. But there is a program that can really help just about anyone now. So we're going to have him talk to us a little bit about the Hometown Heroes program.
Yep, thank you. It's a great program. I can't remember when it came out. It was probably a year and a half ago. So it's a fairly new program offered through the state of Florida. Called Hometown Heroes. Basically, when it first came out, they offered 5% of the loan amount up to $25,000 max in down payment assistance. But the issue was, you had to be what they called a hero. So you had to be in a specific occupation, such as police, firefighter, nurse, which is great for those guys. But I think the thought behind this is that, rate, kind of like you said, rates have gotten so high, prices have gotten so high, that has just really pushed a lot of first-time home buyers out of the market, and people couldn't afford it. So what they did is, they came out in July 3rd of this year, kind of revamped the program a little bit. They actually increased the down payment assistance from $25,000 up to a max of $35,000. Wow. So it's still 5% of the loan amount. But now up to a max of $35,000. But probably the big thing that they did with this is they eliminated the occupational requirement. So as long as you are a first-time home buyer, which means that you have not owned a home within the last 3 years, and you meet other qualifications, income, credit score, then you could potentially participate in this Hometown Heroes program. So it's a fantastic program for people that go, look, I'm a first-time home buyer. I've got some money, but I don't have enough for a down payment. You can basically take the proceeds, down payment assistance from this program, and apply it towards both down payment and closing costs. So it's just a wonderful program for people that really are looking to buy a home and can't get into it. So for lack of a big down payment. One of the other things that they did was before you had, especially after COVID, you had a lot of people that worked in other states. Say, for example, that they worked for a company that was based in, Ohio. They moved here. They were a remote worker. That has kind of changed a little bit. So what's new on this program with the Hometown Heroes is that it has to be a Florida-based business. So that basically means that they can have their headquarters in a different state, but they must have a business or, brick and mortar business here in Florida. And a lot of people question, well, what does that mean for self-employment? Because that's not really a brick and mortar type business. As long as the individual that works in Florida, as long as it's a business that's registered in Florida, that is still considered a quote unquote brick and mortar Florida-based business. So they would potentially qualify. So it's a great program that I really recommend to people. And there's one other benefit that I kind of forgot and I wanted to mention was that through the Hometown Heroes program, whenever you lock the interest rate on these loans, you basically do it through the Florida Housing Authority, and they subsidize the rate, which, when you have a high rate environment, that's extremely advantageous. So you could get a little bit lower interest rate through the Hometown Heroes program, and you get that with 0 points.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's huge in this market.
Big, right.
So, and for everyone that doesn't know what a point is on a loan, so 1 point equals 1% of the loan amount as a fee to lock in that rate. So, say for example, that you had a loan amount of $300,000, 1% would be a $3,000 fee. With Hometown Heroes, you do not pay that. There's 0 points on that. So it's a huge thing. So
potentially you can get a lower interest rate and down payment assistance.
Yep.
And there's other benefits as well that go along with it.
Yeah, and it's been great because they've opened up to so many first-time home buyers now that we're just not able to get into it before because you had that occupational requirement. So so now they've waived that, done away with that. So Like I said, as long as you qualify as a first-time home buyer, then you could potentially take advantage of this program.
Remind me again, what is the qualifications for first time? I know you.
First-time home buyer basically means that you have not been on a deed or owned a home within the last 3 years.
Right. So you could have previously owned a home, but just in the last 3 years you can't.
Exactly. So yeah, a lot of people are confused by that too,
Right.
because and that's one thing that I'm sure to ask people about, and we do check that as well, because a lot of people think that first-time home buyer means that you've never owned a home before,
Right.
and that is not the case. Yep.
Cool.
So you have had a lot of success with these
We
thus
did.
far. I mean, I know it just changed in July.
Yep. July 3rd was the
with
official.
the occupational requirements.
Yeah, and it's funny because, and I don't want to say this to discourage anyone, because what this is, this is a program that's going to continuously fund. So the way it's worked, it's not a program that they intend to run it for a little while that it's going to go away. So this is something that they typically fund it with $100 million each time they do it. Once the funds are gone, they reauthorize another $100 million. Those funds are gone. They keep doing that over and over. So the one thing that I wanted to mention also, so this is a zero payment, zero interest loan, basically, the down payment assistance. So it has to be paid back, but only if you refi or you sell your house. So if you're in your house and you never sell it, you never have to pay the loan back. So that's an important feature too. But the reason why that's important in this instance is because eventually over time, this will become a self-funding program, because as people begin to refi, as people begin to move, they will pay off these loans. That money will go back into the pool of money to reissue again. So that's fantastic.
That's great,
yeah, it's great because you don't have to worry about the legislature saying, well, we don't have any money to fund this program anymore. Well, as people begin moving that took advantage of this program over time, it's going to be self-funding.
Right.
Yep.
Is this a Florida-based only?
Yeah, it's. I don't know if other states have programs like this, but yes, you have to live in Florida, and you have to be working for a Florida-based business. I've heard of other states having something like this.
Similar programs.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, and even in Florida, though, they have down payment assistance programs by county.
Right.
But the thing about that is the money that they have for down payment assistance is not as generous. I mean, typically it's $10,000, maybe up to a max of $15,000. And the big thing about this, and I'm kind of glad you mentioned that also, because one of the other aspects of this is Hometown Heroes has a very high income max to be eligible for this program.
Oh, okay.
It varies by county, but it's right around $130,000.
Oh.
Yeah.
So a lot of people can.
A lot of people can take advantage of it, as opposed to many down payment assistance programs, which is a max of about $70,000.
Right.
Varies by county, of course, but it's much, much lower.
Right. Almost half.
Yeah. So you have a lot of people that can really take advantage of, where they may not be able to with other down payment assistance programs.
That's great.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. So if anyone is interested in hearing more about that, of course, we can educate you, Connor especially, and be able to more easily get you into a home.
Yeah, so the process is pretty easy. It's kind of the same thing as the pre-approval process. I mean, basically what I would do is I would just talk to the person that's interested, take a look at their finances, ask them some questions about income. We'd look at credit. We'll look at who their employer is, whether or not it's Florida-based, and then once they're approved, then just issue a pre-approval letter and they can start looking for a home.
That's great.
Very easy process.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for sharing that information, and we will continue to share more information and hopefully get people on board for this awesome opportunity to make it easier to become a first-time home buyer or just a home buyer.
Excellent.